All right, so welcome to Computer Science 1 Honors. I'm Dr. Chris Burke. We always start right at 9:30 because I'm live streaming this. You'll have access to the live stream, of course, on YouTube. You'll also have access to the recording immediately following each and every single class. So do be aware, I've got a baffle on my microphone here, so we can't really pick up any voices, and you're not going to walk way back here and see me and be on camera, but do be aware that it is being recorded and it's going to be on YouTube. All right, so today is just going to be an introduction to the course, and then I'll get you started for tomorrow for your first lab. First of all, are you in the right class? Yes, you had to be invited to be here. Either through the UNL, through the School of Computing Honors Program, or you were invited at a new student enrollment. This is Computer Science 1. The honors version of this actually covers two different languages. If you were to go to the regular version of the class, 155A, you'd be doing Python. If you were to go to 155E, which I also teach, you'd just be doing C. But in this class, we're going to be doing C and Java because that's the honors portion. It's going to afford us the opportunity to learn two languages in parallel. If you've already learned one of these, most likely Java, nobody's ever learned C from a high school curriculum that I know of. But if you've learned Java already, that's fine. You'll relearn it. You'll have a different perspective of it. Maybe a little bit more modern Java. Otherwise, there are some other offerings that I'll just mention that you probably don't want, that are probably not appropriate. Like 101 is for non-majors. 155A is one of the regular sections, and then 155T. 155A is for computer science majors who want a little bit gentler introduction to computer science. 155T is going to be for data science majors, and then all of those are in Python, by the way. 155E, as I already said, I teach that as well. That's just C, right? And then for 155N, that's MATLAB, and that's going to be for general engineering majors, mechanical engineering and such, right? So it's okay if you have prior experience. It is also okay if you do not. We start from the very beginning with a Hello World program. So we're not going to be starting right in the middle of any language, right? I am your instructor. If you want to learn more about me, you can maybe Google. Actually, no, there are many Chris Burkes in the world that I found, so you can't just Google me, but you can read my bio. We'll take a look at that here in a second. But also, more importantly, you're going to have a whole bunch of learning assistants that you'll get to know throughout the semester. Let's go ahead and check that out now. Here's Canvas. If you don't know how to get to Canvas, it's mynu.instructure.com, or you can just go to, I think it's canvas.nebraska.edu, and it'll take you here eventually. But otherwise, everything is ready to go, right? You'll see everything is organized into modules. We start out with Module 1 at the very beginning. Roughly, it's one module per week, but there are some modules that are shorter. There are some that are longer, right? And you'll see over here in the blue, we've got the material for that week. I will eventually post links to each one of these live streams as we go along. We also have some videos. For example, Lab 1, I have a complete walkthrough video of that for you if you want to view it tonight and go through the Lab 1 and get it done. And you don't have to go to lab tomorrow, right, if you don't want to. Then I've got a complete walkthrough of your first programming assignment. It's actually a hack. There's no programming in it yet, but it's an introduction to how to use Get from a C perspective. Likewise, we'll have some optional reading here, recommended reading. I've got a Computer Science 1 textbook, free and open source. It's not something you buy at the library. It's just a PDF. I wrote it, and it's free. Right? Also, recommended reading is going to be the syllabus. We'll check that out here in a second. All right? Otherwise, there's also optional reading each week for each module, and a couple of resources as we go along. In the green, those are your graded activities. And you can see here that you have a Lab 1 and a Lab 1, but there's Java versions and C versions. You also have a Hack 1 and a Hack 1, Java and C. We'll talk about how these are graded. It's not double the work. It's more work, but it's not double, trust me. But let's go ahead and take a look at the very first link here, Getting Help and Instructor Info. Okay. So once this loads, you'll see here that throughout the week we have maybe about 20 or 30 help hours. Right. For example, HURT is their office hour, their help hours are just getting over, and right now it looks like they shouldn't have collided with the lecture here. But Ben, he's holding his help hours right now, and you'll see my help hours are immediately following on Mondays after this class. Right? I've also got help hours over here at 11:30 to 12:30 on Wednesdays. But otherwise, I'm not the only one, and this will be updated. There are a couple of LA's learning assistants that are not available on here. But then pretty much everything is blocked out on Tuesdays and Thursdays because those are our lab and hack sessions. Otherwise, eventually you'll have some information here about your lab, your course leaders and your learning assistants. There's my information. Again, you can find out, read all about me. I like reading, running, biking, baseball, etc. Right? All right, so that's me, and those are the learning assistants that you'll learn about over the course of the semester. They're there for not only for help hours, but they're also going to be grading your hacks, and they're also going to be helping you in lab and hack sessions, right? If you choose to attend, which I highly recommend that you do. So what is this course about? Well, it's about computer science. And what is computer science about? Well, I've got some nice quotes here that if you really want to understand something, this is from Douglas Adams, then the best way is to try to explain it to somebody else. And in fact, that's what teaching is, by the way. That forces you to sort it out in your own mind. That's really the essence of programming. By the time you've sorted out a complicated idea into little steps that even a stupid machine can deal with, you've certainly learned something about it yourself. That's problem solving, right? Being able to break the problem down into smaller and smaller bits so that you can, that's one line of code, or that's a function that exists already, right? Another one by another sci-fi writer here. In my experience, Michael Crichton, in my experience, you assert control over a computer. You show it who's the boss by making it do something unique. That means programming it. If you devote a couple of hours of programming to a new machine, you'll feel better about it afterwards. This is all the more true in the age of AI, right? AI is making computing and computers even more mystical and magical to the general population. We still need to be masters of the machine, and that means we need to know how they work inside, and we need to know how to manipulate them and control them, right? We need to be the masters of the machines, otherwise the machines will be our masters. Right? So those quotes are what computer science is. At its core, it's problem solving. Computers don't solve problems, even AI, you do, right? Computers only automate solutions, and so our discipline is one that's becoming an ancillary discipline, ancillary to all other disciplines. There's another quote here, but it's somewhat out of date here. Yep. I forgot my headphones today, but every so I'll make sure that the live stream is actually getting my voice. Right? But this is from Isaac Asimov in 1964, so over 60 years ago now, right? He was thinking about the world 50 years from now, which is 10 years ago. And he was asked, I think this is at the World's Fair, what will it look like in 50 years? And he said that we'll have fewer routine jobs that cannot be done better by some machine than by by any human, right? And therefore humans, mankind, will need to become a bunch of machine tenders. And he was off by about 10 years, but and maybe he's a little bit still off. But that's what AI is promising now, right? That people are going to become machine tenders. We need to know how the machines work still, right? Your AI skills, your prompt skills are a direct correlation of your programming skills, and there are studies to back that up, right? So again, what is CS1 in the context of computer science? Well, it's an introduction to computer science. It's not just a programming course. We will use programming as a tool to introduce problem solving, right? It's about problem solving, computational thinking, algorithms, data structures, and how to manipulate data. And more generally, more broadly, it's about everything, right? The world is process. The world is computation. If you look at biology, everything in biology is actually a biological process. The physical world is a process. Economics are interactions between agents. That's a process. And what is process? Process is computing. Right? Here are the actual topics that we'll cover. Essentials of 2 fundamental programming languages. Software development principles and tools. Data abstraction, modeling and processing, control structures, conditionals, repetition, error handling. That's actually just the first 4 weeks, and then we'll move on to other stuff. And then algorithms, design, analysis, searching, sorting, and recursion. Right? Again, I said, as we saw in Canvas, they're organized into modules, roughly 1 per week. Each module covers one major topic or subtopic. Each one of them has pre-prepared tutorial videos, C versions only. Right? I don't have pre-prepared videos for Java, but How many people are coming from with a Java background? Good number. How about Python? Is that where high schools are now? Oh, 50-50? Okay. All right. Again, if you don't know either, that's fine. The way that I cover it in this course is I cover it in C because that's the more difficult language. And then I go over to Java, and here's how you do the exact same thing over here in Java, right? And it's a much richer, much fuller library of functions. So what took us 5-10 lines of code over here in C is only going to be a one-liner over here in Java, right? The lectures are Monday, Wednesday, Friday, same time, same place, and live streamed every single time. On Tuesdays are your labs, right? And on Thursdays they're labeled as labs, but they're actually a hack session on Thursdays, right? And you do have 2 hacks. So let's be in each one of those because in detail, because each one of those is how you're going to get your grade. First of all, again, Monday, Wednesday, Friday are lectures. I code my lectures. I don't have this is the only slide deck you'll ever see. Maybe at the end of the semester, like a course retrospective will be a slide deck. But what I do is I code my lectures. So I've got a markdown sheet over here. It renders up there, and we'll go to the IDE, the Integrated Development Environment, do some coding, bring it over here. I'll type out the notes as we go along, etc. And then those notes will be posted to GitHub. You should still take your own notes though, right? Because it allows you to jot down things that like questions that you have, or something that I just said offhand I didn't put it in the notes accidentally. You need to put that in your notes. Whether or not you type them or hand write them, it doesn't really matter. You should limit distractions, right? Numerous studies indicate that it's detrimental to learning if you've got your phone up, or if you've got your computer up, great if you're taking notes that way. But limit the distractions, whatever pops up from Discord or whatever, right? Even the mere presence of smartphones makes you dumber, right? Those are some links that you can go to, some studies on that, right? The pre-prepared videos, like I said, that's C only, not Java, but I do have videos from prior years if you want to check those out. I've been live streaming now for, I think, over 10 years, so I've got 10 years backlog of videos on YouTube. But the pre-prepared ones are designed to give you a primer, an introduction to stuff, and my recommendation is that you watch those before class, and then you come to class and you get another different perspective. If you watch them after class, or both, or never watch them, that's up to you, right? I cast a wide net, so we have a book, we have lecture, we have lab, we have hack, we have pre-prepared videos, right? Find one of those things that works for you. I don't expect anybody to do all of them, right? Because that would be way too much. But go with the one that works for you. If you are if you learn better by reading a textbook, then go to the textbook. If you learn better by watching somebody do something, great. If you learn better by actually doing it, then focus on the labs, right? CampusWire is our online forum, which I sent invites to you over a week ago, and I've been posting there since. Just to make sure you make sure that you accept that invite, right? It looks like something like this. Actually, over here is our section, right? And so yeah, we're in our section. So I post weekly retrospectives. After every assignment, I'll post retrospective on that assignment with summary grades and what went well, what didn't go so well, et cetera, et cetera. So all of my communication will be out through this. If you have a question, if it's a private question, go ahead and send it to me via email. But if you have a question like on material, post it here. You can post anonymously, you can post it privately, you can post it publicly. That means I'd really rather you post it publicly, but then not show your name if you don't want to. But that means that when I answer your question, it gets answered for everybody, right? So this is going to be our online forum. It's free, right? And it's okay. Again, they've got help hours. There are 3 learning assistants that are assigned to this course, and another half dozen that are assigned to the main course that can still help with the honors course. And they hold 20 or more weekly help hours. All those help hours, by the way, are going to be in Avery 15. This building is Avery. 15 is going to be in the basement, and it's that way. Right? It's a large lab. There are computers there if you want to use them. You can log in with your regular UNL credentials, or you can bring your own computer and plug in and work down there. Course grading is based on labs, hacks, and exams. Right? On Tuesdays is your labs, though. And I've got this crossed out, attendance required. You'll find out here why in a second. But the lab itself is worth 15 points. It's based on completion. You will check out some starter code from GitHub, and we'll show you how to do that in Lab 1. You will write some code, right? You'll run some tests, and then you'll submit it through Canvas. It's a program called GradeScope. Do high schools use GradeScope? No? Okay. It's an auto grader. Basically, you submit it. It runs stuff in the background, usually the same tests that are run in your lab, and it says, you pass everything. You get 15 points. Awesome. You passed 14 out of 15 tests. You get a 0. That's okay. Fix it, hand it in. You have until midnight on the same day on Tuesday to resubmit as many times as you want until it passes everything. Right? It is due the same day, so it's due at midnight. If you go to your lab session, it's designed to be done within that hour and 15 minutes that you have, but if you need extra time, that's fine. You can go all the way till midnight. If you want to get it done today, a day early, if you want to get next week's done today and a week early, that's fine too. They're all posted. Okay. If we highly recommend though that you do come to labs so that you can get some help. You can use what's called peer programming. Right? We recommend that you work in pairs, and if you like, we will go ahead and pair you up. Right? One of you should be the navigator and one of you should be the driver. Right? The navigator is in charge of the handout and discussing what needs to be done. The driver is in charge of the keyboard, and then switch off, right? As you feel comfortable. Right? But you're both responsible for communicating and solving the problem. Now, this is just a suggested way of doing it. If you don't want to do it that way, that's fine. If you want to work alone, that's fine. Right? If you want to work with 3 people, that's fine too, for labs. Right? But ultimately, you are both responsible for communicating and solving the problem. Okay? It's graded based on completion, so it's either a 0 or 15. Right? And again, you can resubmit as many times as you want. Because we are covering both C and Java, you only need to do one of those. Right? Do the C version, you're done as far as a grade goes. You should still do the Java version, so you're learning Java. Do the Java version, then do the C version, whatever order, right? But only one of those is going to count towards your grade. Unfortunately, we've had to make a change this year, and I don't know how I'm going to do that logistically in the grade book. It used to be easy when we were using something else called CodePost.io, but this year it's going to look like you have to do them both in the grade book. But I'm telling you now, it's okay. I'll figure it out later how to do this logistically. You only need to do at least one. Right? The hacks, however, you do have 2 versions, and you need to do both of those. Those are on Thursday. Again, attendance required, struck out. We'll talk about that in a second. You may work in pairs, but no other collaboration. So no groups of 3, 4, 5, or whatever. Right? You may work alone if you want to. Right? If you pair up, make sure that you're following the instructions in Lab 1, because if you don't, then the partner that doesn't submit is not going to get graded. Right? The way that you do it in GradeScope is you submit, and then once you see, oh, I've got 100% on the auto grader part, right? Then you go down to the bottom and say, my partner was, and then you select from a drop-down list. You can change partners week to week if you want to. If a partnership's not working out, you're free to go your own way, right? Just make sure that if you pair up, that you are doing that so your partner gets credit, right? They are due at the following Monday because it's a more substantial programming assignment. Sometimes you get starter code, sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's just a prompt, right? But that Thursday is when you start in your hack session. You have that weekend all the way to the next Monday at midnight. Everything in this course is going to be Cinderella due dates. And we call that Cinderella due dates because what happened, Cinderella at midnight, she turned back into Cinderella, right? And the pumpkin turned back into a pumpkin or whatever, right? They are graded based on style, documentation, design, and correctness. That correctness is auto-graded. You will know that correctness is there by putting it into GradeScope and seeing it work, right? The rubric is in Canvas and in the handout, so understand what we're looking for style, right? We'll talk about that as we go along. Both C and Java versions are required. You have to turn in both, right? Don't worry, it's the same problem. So once you get it solved in one language, it's just translating that over into the other language, right? All right, so that's why it's not double the effort, right? You really only have to do one lab. And yes, there are 2 of these, but once you've solved one, the next one is maybe 10, 20% more work because you've solved the problem already. Right? There are some, PDC stands for Parallel and Distributed Computing. There's some modules, I'll send out some more information later on. Basically, we've got a pre-module survey. We're doing this as a research project. And then a post-module survey. It's actually an exam, but don't worry if you get something wrong. First of all, you'll never know it. You'll still get 100% of your points because we just want you to answer. We want you to answer truthfully, basically, honestly. And then there's a series of modules in between that you complete at your own pace. Again, these are all based on completion. Exams. Exams comprise a little bit over 1/3 of your grade. There are 5 of them. There are 4 regular exams throughout the semester and then 1 final exam. Because we are now in the world of AI, right? I have changed the format of the exams this year to be auto-graded, multiple choice, short answer questions that are delivered through Canvas, but that are taken at the testing center. Have you guys gotten a primer on the testing center because you might be using it for other classes? Basically, the exams are going to be on Fridays, but you'll have that Thursday, Friday, and Saturday to schedule a 1-hour block that works with your schedule, all right, with the testing center. You go to the testing center, you are allowed 1 sheet of either handwritten or printed notes, right? So it's open notes in that sense, but then the browsers don't allow you to go anywhere else except for Canvas, right? You sit down, you checked in with your NUID. It's all very draconian. I think there are cameras everywhere, right? To make sure that there's no cheating or whatever. You go to the Digital Learning Center and you can schedule your time slot, right? If you miss your time slot, that's okay, as long as you didn't do it on that Saturday, the last day, right? But you have a 3-day window, and it's your responsibility to make sure that you get there and that you reschedule within that window if you need to, right? But otherwise, they're probably going to be multiple choice. They will cover both C and Java for this class. And I don't know, my Canvas exam skills are not that great, so I'm not going to get too creative with that. Don't worry about it. Right? Again, I've already gone over some of the differences with the honor session, but it's a smaller class. There are 23 people enrolled in this class. In my main section, there are 95, right? And it's in a much larger room. There's no required textbook or reading. So in the main section, we've got this online textbook that's also part of their grade. So that's why it's not double the work. You're not doing graded readings each week. And so there's nothing to buy here, right? There's nothing to pay for. There is a suggested book, the free and open source book that I wrote that you can have access to, right? And the other major difference there is that C and Java are both covered, right? In fact, I've got a nice little quote about that. We'll take a look at the syllabus here in a little bit, but here's some quotes on it. Let's see. Oh, no, where is it? No, but no one uses. Ah, darn it. I thought it was in here. Okay, well, anyway, there's a quote by, I think, Bjorn Strousup, the inventor of C++. He said that there are only 2 kinds of languages: the ones that people love, and the ones that people hate, and the one that nobody uses. Right? So you will not find maybe you'll fall in love with a programming language at some point, but the point is that you probably need to be exposed to as many programming languages as you can, and our curriculum does that. With honors here, we're doing C and Java. Next year, or next semester, if you take 156 and continue, which hopefully everybody here will, you'll do Java and Python again, right? And then if you go to CS3, maybe you'll do a 3rd programming language, C++ or something like that. I also do SQL in CS2. So there's plenty of reasons to expose you to as many programming languages as possible, as early as possible, right? Because who knows what you'll be using when you go into industry, right? The other major difference is, remember I had attendance required and then I struck that out. That's because it's not required for H, right? You guys, honor students are generally more responsible for their learning, right? And so I'm giving you the agency that you don't have to do that, right? If you don't want to attend lecture and you just want to watch the live stream, go ahead. Do it from the comfort of your own home, right? If you don't want to go to labs and hacks and want to get it done a week in advance, that's up to you, right? Learn how you want to learn because now you're in college, right? All right, so again, and then there are 2 hacks due each week. So again, not double the work, but a little bit more substantial work. When you do decide to, if you do decide to collaborate, remember that what collaboration is. It's not mooching, and so don't undermine your own learning experience by allowing your partner to do all the work. Collaboration is not doing everything yourself. Don't undermine your partner's learning experience by doing all the work, right? Don't just split it up and say, you do the C version, I'll do the Java version, because one of you ain't learning one thing or the other, right? Collaboration should be an equal effort, right? It's great to be able to bounce ideas off of each other, right? You get stuck and you're sitting there and you're staring at the screen for an hour, maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, and all you need to do was change that one semicolon, right? Whereas a second pair of fresh eyes could see that almost immediately, right? Why? Because it's fresh and it's not their code. It's they're looking at it from a different perspective. They're looking at it from a critiquing point of view. Like, no, that seems wrong right there, right? Whereas you're not looking at it from that perspective because you wrote it. I know it's wrong, but I don't know how because I wrote it, right? It gives you a different perspective. Also, branch out. Don't just collaborate with your friends, right? Now is a time to make new friends and new colleagues or whatever relationships you want, right? We'll take a look at the syllabus here in a second, but generally no late work is accepted. Since everything is electronically submitted, right? Then, I mean, computers have a clock, you know. 1 second before midnight is when it stops, and you're not able to hand anything in after that, right? So no late work. Generally, no late work is accepted. I will point out, however, that in week 5 we have what's called a fix-it week, right? So within the first 4 weeks, right, you stumble, you fall. That's okay. We don't want you to die because of it. What we want you to do is we want you to pick you back up, and we give you a week here to fix any 2 hacks for this course and 1 lab, right? Within the first 4 weeks, right? If you stumble and you fell, you learned your lesson and you've saved yourself. After that, however, we don't have another fix-it week. So make sure that if you screw up early, right? All right, but otherwise, abide by collaboration policies for academic integrity. Don't use ChatGPT, Copilot, whatever other agentic generative AI is out there and you like, right? I will show you an AI that you can use throughout the semester. It's a tutor AI. And we'll take a look at that later on, but you can ask it questions, and it's been designed to not give answers. It's been designed to be a tutor, and will teach you and answer your questions and guide you to the correct solutions without actually giving you the answer, right? We do run plagiarism software, MOS, measure of software similarity. I can count on one finger of the times that I've had to do this in the honor section for the last 15 years, right? It's a different crowd, right? So uphold that different crowd mentality, right? How to succeed in this course? Don't assume anything about yourself, right? Now the pass rate, in fact the A-B rate for the honor section is usually 90-95%. But there's always, somebody who struggles because they're generally struggling with college, right? Don't assume that you're not going to be that person, right? We start with zero knowledge. You should start with zero knowledge. Right? Even if you have, 4 years of high school hacking because you did Python or whatever, or Java or whatever else you did, right? You're still going to learn something. You're still going to get something out of this course, right? Coding is a skill that needs practice, right? You wouldn't expect to learn violin by simply reading a bunch of sheet music, right? You learn violin and you get good at it by practicing, right? And maybe that's every day, maybe that's every other day. It depends on you, right? Don't compare yourself to others. Compare yourself to yourself. If you have zero experience and you're teaming up with somebody who has 4 years of Python experience, right? That's not going to be an equitable relationship, right? You're going to start comparing yourself. Oh, I'm so far behind, right? No, you're not, right? As far as this course is concerned, no, you're not, right? By the end of this course, everybody will be on the same level, right? Everybody may struggle. In fact, all will struggle at some point, but everybody can succeed if you try and if you have yourself in that good mindset of not assuming anything about yourself. All right, any questions so far? Otherwise, let's just take a really quick look at the syllabus, right? Because it's standard, right? Standard course information here. Everybody is going to get way better than a C in here. Yes, please do. But you do need a C or better to continue to, in the program to move on to Computer Science 2. That's a post-requisite, by the way. The prerequisite in here, everybody would have met this. This is basic high school algebra. We're not going to be using Calc in here, but you're probably enrolled in Calc 1, 2, or 3, depending on your background, right? I don't know, anybody in DiffEQ already? All right, 1, good. 2, all right, good job. 3, it looks like maybe. All right. Otherwise, standard university policies, resources, and services, especially for services with students with disabilities. Excuse me, the SSD office. If you need accommodations for exams, you need to go to the SSD office and get registered. They will tell me the accommodations, and then I will implement those accommodations, right? That allows you to not have to say what your condition is, or and it allows you to keep your privacy with your doctor, right? Otherwise, there are a couple of other policies there. What are some of them? Oh, there is the CAPS, which is counseling and psychological services. You get free psychological, mental health, and well-being resources here at the university. So if you do need counseling and psychological services, that's the place to go. Right? The other one is the final exam schedule week. This is called the dead week policy, if you've heard of that before. Generally, instructors aren't supposed to have big giant projects or final exams during the 15th week of class, the last week of class, unless they tell you up front that here's what we're doing in writing. And in fact, there's what we're doing in the last week, right? You still have a 1 hack and 1 lab, and then the PDC exams. And then the final exam is scheduled right there, right? So in writing, yes, I've informed you that we are doing, it's not a major project though, but it is regular old homework, right? And then a couple of other policies there that you should familiarize yourself with and be aware of. Continuation of instruction. If we have a really bad weather day, I might, don't come to class, of course. I might lecture, I might live stream from home. For labs and hacks, just get them done asynchronously on your own at home. Right? Skills objectives that you should have out of this course, including, you should be able to approach a reasonably complex problem, design a top-down solution, and code a program in a high-level programming language that automates solutions to that problem. Right? There is the distribution of grade points. It's going to be a little bit different for the 8 section because we don't have readings, we have double the hacks, and we don't have attendance, so it's a little bit it's a little bit different, but you'll see it in the grade book. We already went over labs and hacks and the attendance policy. Exams at the Digital Learning Center. There's a link to it. If you right now, you can go ahead and schedule yourself right now if you know when you want to take your exam, because it's all set up and available and ready to go. Right? 15th week notification. There is the letter grade distribution, and we do have pluses and minuses. There's no difference between an A plus and an A as far as GPA calculations go, but there are going to be differences plus and minus for GPA calculations that you should be aware of. No late work accepted. Academic integrity, we already talked about that. AI tooling, this is the one that you're allowed to use, right? So you can log in after you've set up your GitHub account. And it's a nice little rubber, it's called a rubber duck because there's there's rubber duck debugging, which is basically, how do you debug? How do you reason through a problem with your code? Right? Well, ideally you go to somebody else and you start talking about it, right? Well, what if you don't have somebody? You imagine that there's a little rubber duck sitting on top of your computer and you start talking to the duck, right? And this is where they got this, that you're basically, you're trying to explain yourself, and once you try to explain yourself, you realize, oh wait, that's not what I was really doing, right? And so you realize by yourself, by just trying to explain it, what the problem was, and that's why they call it the rubber duck debugger, right? So give me a hello world program, right? And it's probably not going to do that, hopefully. I'd love to I'll walk you through the process of writing your own hello world program, but it's not going to give you code, right? And if it does actually accidentally give you code, it's filtered, so the code won't actually show up, right? But you can ask more deeper questions of it, right? You can ask, what is an integer or int type in C, right? a basic question that we'll answer by the end of the week, right? Typically takes up to 4 bytes, 32 bits of memory, right? That's typical, right? I'm glad that it's actually saying typical, but it's a whole number, right? So like -3, 0, 42, etc. Yeah.
What are the hearts at the top?
That is throttling you. So if you ask too many questions, right, then that means that you're not actually thinking for yourself and trying things out, right? So once you get down to 0, then you have to wait a little while, right? You can also ask it to, this failed last year, but I'm taking a multiple choice exam and need to study. Give me a practice problem on C loops. All right. Please, will you do it this year? Hey, great, it did it. Right? So there's some, gives you some code, right? And then it asks you A, B, or C. What is the output? Right? Perfect way to practice. This is appropriate AI for this course. You can use cs50.ai, right, /chat. You can use it as much as you want. It looks like you get 10 questions maybe, and then you have to wait. I don't know what the wait time is, but you can ask it, but then that might take another heart away. I don't know. But this is also integrated into the CS50 IDE. It's just not working for me right now. All right, but we'll take a look at that in here in a second. Okay. What else was in the syllabus? Yeah, communications and getting help. We've got the Learning Assistant program. We've got our online forum. We've got help hours, et cetera, et cetera. So get help the right way. Otherwise, any questions? No? Then let's start. So for C, we're going to suggest that you use the CS50 IDE. This is provided by Harvard. There are thousands of people on it, though, so they won't notice that we're using it. They don't care that we're using it. They're paying all the bills. Right? But basically, what you need to do to get started is you need to go to GitHub. If you already have a GitHub account, great. You'll need to sign up for one. Right? It's free. If you sign up using your huskers.unl.edu email, you might get a bunch of free stuff for a year or something like that. But I'm already I've been on GitHub for 15 years now, at least. Probably more than that, I'm not sure. But anyway, once you've done that, you can come over here, log in. This is what you'll be doing, by the way, in tomorrow's lab. Or if you go home today and you want to watch video 1.1, I walk you through this process, right? Yeah, go ahead.
Do you need to use the CS50 version of VS Code?
Oh, no, so this is what we're suggesting. If you want to use a VS Code native, do whatever you want, right? If you want to go with go completely command line and use VI and GCC, go ahead, right? Likewise, what we'll be showing you is Eclipse for Java. If you want to use IntelliJ, if you want to use BlueJ, if you want to use whatever, I don't care, right? All of the labs will be designed for Eclipse, though, so keep that in mind. You'll have to figure out how to, when you clone something, you'll have to figure out how it gets cloned to IntelliJ because it was designed for Eclipse. But once you've logged in, you've got this nice little code spaces, right? Which is Visual Studio, but it is in the browser. So there's nothing to install, right? I think that you have unlimited access to this version. If you use code spaces, I think you're throttled to 20 hours a week or something like that. So if you are using regular code spaces, make sure you shut it or shut it down properly. Otherwise, if you leave it running, then you'll quickly run out of time, right? But otherwise, there's no time here at all, right? There's a nice little file explorer over here. We'll show you how to get that set up and started. And we suggest that you have, hacks, labs, and miscellaneous. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get started by simply just creating a new file here. And you can do that in one of two ways. You can go ahead and right-click over here, new file. You can go ahead and click this button that creates a new file. Or down here, you can touch a new file. Come on. All right. Touch hello.c. Let me go ahead and increase the size here. I run out of real estate with low-res monitors like this. And it's low-res because the projector is low-res. Sometimes it needs a kick in the butt, so let me go ahead and refresh this. And now I see that there's this file over here. Again, you could have created that by hitting this button or by right-clicking. If you open it, there, come on, double-click. It's just really slow today. All right. Maybe this is an argument for using Visual Studio. And if you want to use Visual Studio, by the way, we have instructions for doing that in the FAQ. Let me go ahead and show you that right away. We have like 10 minutes, yeah. Computer Science 1, behind the scenes, everything is actually hosted on GitHub. You'll get to it through Canvas, but it's hosted on GitHub here. And in my documents over here, wow. I don't know if this is just every year the Wi-Fi craps out on the first day because everybody's trying to use it for the first time. But it might also be GitHub. They had a global outage last week, or maybe it was earlier this week, I forget. It was last week because it's Monday. Anyway, here's, for example, here's the FAQ on the CS50 IDE. If something goes wrong, right, try rebooting, right? The rubber duck debugging is not working. Well, then go to cs50.ai. I'm getting a bad gateway message. Go here, right? Et cetera, et cetera. I'm having a different problem. Nothing seems to work, right? All right, I'm fed up with this. I want to try something else. You can download a Docker instance if you want to, or you can install VS Code directly on your computer. Windows might require MinGW. I don't know. Here's a full tutorial. I have a Windows machine, but that's just to make sure that the live stream is working. Okay. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Those instructions, are they just like setting up VS Code to default settings, or are there like
Yeah,
extra
I believe so, yeah. And MinGW is required because I don't know if VS Code ships with a C compiler. It doesn't. So MinGW is probably what you're going to want to use. And here's a full tutorial on how to do that. I mean, if this were back in the 90s, you would have like 5 different compilers you could choose from. But really, GCC or Clang is where it's at now, right? So yeah, if you're going to do C stuff, then I believe VS Code might ship with a Python interpreter. Don't quote me on that. I don't know if it ships with Java compiler or not, but there are certainly plugins and things that you can download, and you can do everything in VS Code if you really want to, right? But otherwise, come on, open. Why are you not opening? All right, open, hello. Okay. Okay, that's VI. All right, why are you not? All right, let's try to opening up something that already exists. No. Bad CS50. All right, that's fine. I'm going to use Emacs, please. Hello. No Emacs either. VI. All right, we're going to go back to 1960. All right, and we're using VI, which is a visual editor. Right. All right, so I can start typing here. All right, and a basic Hello World program is going to look something like this. Right. First of all, I'm going to start by including some things because I don't want to start from scratch. stdlib.h. STD is short for standard. Lib is short for, what do you think? Library, right? So it's going to bring in a bunch of stuff that is standard for C. Also, I don't want to write my own input and output stuff. So I'll bring in the std standard IO library. What do you think IO is for? Input, output. Right? Every program begins with what's called a main. And in C, your main is going to look like this. Int char arg C char star star arg v. So a bunch of weird characters. Don't worry about them. They're magic for now, right? We will demystify that magic later on. But your main is where everything starts, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just say I want to print hello world. Print F. Right? F stands for formatted, so it's going to print in a formatted manner. Hello world. Right? And what is that? Is that a backslash or a forward slash there, by the way? It's a backslash. How do you know it's a backslash? A guy facing right, are they leaning back or are they leaning forward? All right? Yeah. Question?
I thought you were going to ask what that escape sequence is.
Oh yeah, now what is that escape sequence? Backslash n, what is that?
New line.
Yep, it goes down to the new line. Otherwise, it would stay on that line and it would look not pretty. Right? All right, do not worry about VI. I am not going to force you to learn VI. Right? All right? But otherwise, there's my program. Right? Does it work? Right? How do I get it to work? By the way, it's bad style, but that's because I was in VI. Everything needs to be aligned. Right? Here, I'll show you a really quick tool that I'll show you later on. Let me fix that. That print and that return, those are not at the same indentation level. Bad style, point off for me, right? But that's okay. I can use a style, hello.c, and it'll fix it. More hello.c. Hey, now they're all aligned, and it did it automatically for me. Great. Right? So you should get used to doing it as you're going along and making sure that you're writing good code. But if you need to, you can always use a style to fix it. Right? And I'll show you the Java version of all this stuff later. Right? All right, but it's just a text file right now. Right? It's not actually something that can be run. Right? So what I need to do is I need to compile. I need to take that high-level machine code or high-level programming language code and then translate it into low-level zeros and ones. Now there's an entire process that goes on behind the scenes that we'll talk about later, but basically I just want to do it with one shot right now. GCC, which is GNU's C compiler, right? Or GNU's compiler, right? Colloquially, because it can actually compile multiple languages. Right? In the command line world, the Linux world, no news is good news. It didn't give me any news. That's good news. If there was something went wrong, right? There was a syntax error, or there was a fault, or it failed to compile, then it would say something. No news is always good news. Now I'm going to show you another command here, ls. That means I can look at the files here, or I can come over here and refresh, and you see that there's this new file here called a.out, wherever the hell I'm over here, right? A.out right there. Right? That's my executable file, and you know that it's executable because it's got a star next to it, and it's in green. Might be difficult to see that, but it is green. Right? Now I can run it by going slash, and now is that a forward slash or a backslash? That's a forward slash because the guy's leaning forward now. A.out. And it'll print out hello world. Right? Now if something went wrong, let's see. All right. For example, I forgot that closing double quote there. Right? Let me go ahead and screw that up intentionally and see what happens there. I want to GCC this again. Now news is bad news. It's saying, whoa, something went wrong there. You're missing a terminating double quote character that you started on line 7 here. And then it went down to the end of the line, but I never saw it. And so error. Right? It's really only one error, but it's reading as 3 errors because it screws up the rest of the program. Right, entirely. Once I fix that one error, then it'll be fine. Right? And we know what the fix will be. It's just putting that double quote back in there. Right? That's your first Hello World program. Can we speed run Eclipse? Let me try. Otherwise, we'll do it next time. All right. So come on. Right click. So it's not going to look like this when you install it and get it up and running, but the full instructions on how to install the not Java itself, but the Java development environment, the JDK, the Java development kit. The university actually firewalls us out from Oracle's official version, but for some reason they're okay with Amazon's version, Cortera. You can either go off campus and download Oracle's JDK if you want to, because it's your own personal computer. But we suggest that you just go with Coretta or Cortera, I forget what the actual name is, but the instructions are in Lab 1. Then you install Eclipse, and once you've done that, you can go ahead and create a new Java project. Right? Doesn't have to be fancy, we'll just call it Hello World. Right? You can install it for whatever Java versions you want. They're up to 25 now, or actually I think they're on 27 for beta, maybe 28 for beta, I don't know. We're not going to use anything really cutting edge and fancy. I think I selected Java 16 as the default because that's what the grader runs, right? So you'll want to make sure that you're on the same version there, right? And this is, again, all in the handout. That creates a nice little project over here that you can expand, and it has an SRC folder. What do you think SRC stands for? Source. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new package. A package is nothing more than a folder or a directory. And I'll create UNL SOC. Generally what you do is you create a hierarchy, the top level, then a subdirectory, and so our convention will be to use UNL.SOC. Then I can create a new Java class within that. In Java, everything is a class or belongs to a class. And I'll just call it Hello World. Right? Okay. That generates some code here. Right? And now I need that same stuff that I had over here in C. Let me go ahead and come on, there we go, there it is. Can I simply just cut and paste this stuff and bring it over here? Probably not. First of all, it's completely different syntax, but let me see what I can cut and paste here. We're almost there, right? What we need to do is we need to change this to public static int, or void main. We need to change this stuff to string args, right? And all we need to do now with the actual code is system.out.printf. And it's the same exact thing, except that we have our same syntax error there. There we go. Yeah, go ahead.
1020.
Okay, yes, thank you. A little bit over, but I won't be doing that on a regular basis. So we will, there's our first Hello World program. We'll pick it up there on Wednesday.